Hello and welcome back to my hangar. Today we're going to go over how to get into the Arena Command module, some of the basics and a little bit of gameplay there. First thing we notice is if you have it enabled on your account, when you log into the hangar, on the left here you've got the helmet. If you go up to it and hit the use key, which is F, it'll put the helmet on. As you see on my model here, the helmet is now on. Now, in my hangar, because of the ships I have and the money spent, I got 3 trainer ships. I got the basic Aurora, basic Hornet, and the 300i. For this demo, we're going to use the Hornet. But basically, one thing is to note: you can use the weapon table to switch the the guns around between ships. Some people have said it's a bit buggy. I mean, here in the Hornet, basically by default, you've got these two the Gatlings. And there's 2 007 repeaters on top. It is a bit buggy. If you take the Gatlings off the Hornet and put them back on, then there's no ammo in them. It's the same with the missiles. If you take the missiles off the ship and replace them with some normal guns and then put the missiles back, there's no missiles. If you do something like that, the easiest way to do it is delete the user folder within the Star Citizen data and Citizen client folder. That should reset all your hangar stuff. What I have done here, I've taken off the repeaters, the 117 repeaters off my Super Hornet and put them on this Trainer Hornet, so I got bigger cannons on top. But to get into the module, you get into the ship you want to fly, and as long as you're wearing the helmet on, as you get in, you will see the RSI logo up here at the bottom, and you get the Arena Commander logo pop up. So if you log in here, we see, as you sit down, over in closure, you get the Arena Commander logo appear on the screen. There we go, and you choose the flight modes. So at the moment it is just single, there's no multiplayer here. That would be the Spectrum match, so all that we can do is drone sim. And at the moment there's 2 maps, which is Broken Moon and Dying Star, and 2 modes, which is Free Flight and the Vanduul Swarm. Choose the one you want and hit launch. Just to show some basics of flight, I'm going to go into Free Flight first of all. Okay, here we are in free flight mode. One thing I will link in the description below the starter guide that SIG released with, which is a basic HUD overviews, things like that, and also it has key mappings in it, which is very important because, as you see here, if I just show you the key bindings, there are a lot of keys, but there is a PDF which has all these keys in it, which will definitely make it a lot easier for you. One thing I've noticed as well is the settings for sensitivity and editors don't always retain across gameplays. I mean, I've been normally turning it down a little bit, and I'll explain that shortly. It's basically default HUD. The left side is your ship. This is the overall view, which is F1. Hit F2, it shows you your weapons. F3, your power. F4, your shield. I mean, currently your shield, once you've got the shield screen up, you can use the cursor keys to move around. And when you hit the highlighted shield, if you hit return on that, it says front shield, hit return on that. If you look at the image, you can see that the front shield got a little bit bigger, the bar around it, and it takes power from other shields. I'm not sure how well this is implemented as yet, but as you see, if I switch it between the other ones, like if you switch it to the back, you see the shield there on the right side got smaller and the one on the back got bigger. I'm not sure how well that works in game, but at the moment, but I imagine to do it on the fly in fight. I mean, if you're being chased by someone, you could quickly put a bit of extra power to the rear shields to try to get them back up a bit quicker. You can do similar with weapons. When you go to the weapons, you got the weapon groups, and by default, the left mouse button fires weapon group 1, which at the moment is the ball turret here, and which is my Badger repeaters. Weapon group 2 fires these Gatlings, but you can actually change it. So if, for instance, I wanted to put one of the Gatlings in to fire group 1 to fire it with the left button rather than the right button, you can go down with the cursors. When you get to the gun you want, you can hit return, and then if you see towards the top underneath the gun name, you got the flashing 1. That is actually weapon group. So if I wanted to put it in weapon group 1 as well, I cursor left and right till 1 is flashing and hit enter. Now you'll see that gun is in weapon group 1 and 2. So if I hit the right mouse button to fire weapon group 2, I'll fire the 2 Gatlings. if I hit the left button to fire weapon group 1, I'll fire the lasers and the Gatling that I put in there, as you see. So you could, you know, I mean, you could sit there and put all the weapons together if you so desired. That's probably not the best idea, but you could do. And when you get some of these weapons, some of the bigger ships that have got more guns, you know, it makes more sense. But if you want to take it off, for instance, you go back over to that gun, hit enter again, go to the flashing 1 and hit enter to remove it from weapon group 1. The power, I don't think the power stages have been implemented yet, but as you see at the top, you got the triangle, and you got G1, G2, G3. I imagine that that's obviously going to be to divert more power towards the different weapon groups. I mean, group 1, as I said, is the first one, which is here is my Gatling. Group 2 is the, oh sorry, group 1 is the repeaters. Group 2 is the Gatling. Group 3 you can actually move. You can't move anything into group 3. So, for instance, I, you know, try to move groups. I can move this gun into 1, 2. You know, only at 1 or 2, and if I go to one of these, I can look 1, 2, 4 or 5. You can actually move it into group 3. 4 is also where the missiles is where your missiles will be, and group 5 is your countermeasures. So you can technically put a gun in the same weapon group as your missiles, but that's probably not a good idea. And as I said, the power rating, I'm pretty sure that this hasn't been implemented yet. But as you see there, you got the 1, 2, and 3. Option group 1 at the top there looks like it's all of the weapons and the countermeasures. Group 3 down the bottom looks like it's the engines and the is that the propulsion system. Group 2 could well just be shields, so you can divert more power to weapons, shields, propulsion, etc. But I don't think this actually does anything yet. This will, you know, obviously to be implemented later. Overview just gives you a default overview of your ship. The white boxes on your ship you see at the top are the different actual weapons. Right. As far as controls are concerned, by default, you're into like interactive mode, whereas with the mouse and keyboard, which is what I've been playing with, as you move the mouse pointer, you see this cursor move around. When you shoot towards that cursor. As you move the cursor, your ship, as you see, will turn as you move it to the side of the screen. You use the WSAD keys for, you know, accelerate on W, decelerate on S. A and D is to roll left and right. Q and E is to strafe left and right when you're in uncoupled mode. Now, coupled and uncoupled mode is toggled with a caps lock. I will give you an example of that here. With coupled mode, basically in coupled mode your thrusters will always push you forward. So if we're in coupled mode, as you see on the right side of my display here, I've got coupled G-safe and ComStab highlighted. So if I go forward, throttle up to 100%, you know, I'm moving forward, and as I move the cursor left and right, the ship turns to face that direction and it throttles and moves in that direction. If you switch it to uncoupled mode, for instance by hitting caps lock, you see coupled has got an X right now. Now if I turn left and right, it's still doing the same, but what we can do here is if I switch it around like 360 or 180, if you see my throttle is now 100 and is minus 100. If I go to external view, you can see I'm going backwards, because in uncoupled mode you're still throttling you're still throttling the way you're moving, but you're actually turning without activating the actual forward thrusters. So if for instance in a firefight you're flying forward and
you are approaching simulation boundary.
let's turn around. But if for instance you're in a flight zone,
You are approaching simulation boundary.
in a fight sequence, you're going forward, and all of a sudden you are being hit from the rear, and your rear shields are down. What you could do is switch to uncoupled mode, quickly turn to face your enemy, and start shooting at them while you're going backwards, and also you'll be facing your forward shield at them to kind of, not take a battering where you've got no shield. Doing that in practice takes a little practice. I mean, I played some yesterday and I didn't touch any of these modes at all, because by default my keyboard has the caps lock disabled, but today I've been playing it with a little bit, and it seems it's quite quite good when you can pull that off. You get your rear shields go down, and you switch to that mode and turn quickly. It's very satisfying. But the other modes are the G-Safe and Comms tab. If you hold Control and tap Caps Lock, you toggle G-Safe off, then you toggle Comms tab off, then you toggle them both off, and again to toggle them all back on. The G-Safe mode basically prevents you from blacking out, so it kind of hampers your agility a little bit on your ships. So, but also you won't have a blackout while you're fighting. The Comms tab is basically stability. It basically says in the manual, Comms tab will limit the sliding behavior by slowing the ship's velocity during extreme maneuvers. Now, I've only had a little bit of play around with those two, and as far as the Comms tab, I've not noticed too much yet, but I've not done anything too extreme. G-Safe, I have noticed, if I turn it off, I can maneuver a lot quicker, but I have noticed myself starting to go in to blackout just slightly when the G-forces kick in a lot. The other thing, which is a big factor as far as controls, is interactive mode or relative mode. As I said, interactive mode is where you move the cursor like this to move around. If you switch into relative mode by hitting Control and F, the actual pointer there is locked, and as you move the mouse, the ship turns like that, as you see. When moving into relative mode, I found that I had to move the sensitivity way up. With relative mode, I had to move the in-game sensitivity, mouse sensitivity, up to like 30 to 35 to actually turn with any accuracy. The upside of this obviously is, it's a lot easier to maneuver rather than in interactive mode where you're moving the mouse around like this. So it is easier to get fine movements, but as far as combat, in relative mode, you obviously have to get the chip you're shooting right in the center of your HUD here, or definitely close to the center. As you get something close to the center, you get a green circle and a green box appear to show the group 1 or 2 weapons actually can hit them if you fire. When you're in relative mode, you've got to get them towards in the center there, whereas in interactive mode, you need to get them inside the cursor, so you can shoot someone across to the side as you're turning, and that works pretty well. Right, so basically that's some of the basics, just in free flight mode. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to stop the video here, I'm going to exit back out, come back in and go into Vanduul Swarm, which is the single player wave mode, and just show you a bit of combat.
Aerospace. All systems online.
Vanduul Swarm initiated. Warning, there are multiple hostiles inbound.
Bogey. Scanning. Scanning. Overheating. Collision. Destroyed.
0 hostile contacts remaining. Warning, there are multiple hostiles inbound.
Bogey. Scanning.
We lost a friendly.
Lock. Target destroyed. Scanning. Alert. Aft shields down. Shields charging. Target destroyed. Scanning. Shields charging.
Contacts remaining. Contact. Elite units en route.
Shields charging. Bogey. Scanning. Lock. Warning. Aft shields 25%. Alert. Aft shields down. Flare. Target destroyed. Scanning. Shields charging. Warning. Forward shields 25%. Alert. Forward shields down. Scanning. Shields charging. Shields charging. Alert. Port shields down. Alert. Forward shields down. Target destroyed. Alert. Systems overheating. Shields charging. Shields charging. Alert. Aft shields down. Shields charging. Collision. Target destroyed. Shields charging. Alert. Forward shields down. Alert. Port shields down. Collision. Shields charging. Scanning. Shields charging.
Ally eliminated. All allies lost.
Lock. Target destroyed. Scanning. Scanning. Alert. Systems overheating. Alert. Systems overheating. Alert. Aft shields down. Target destroyed.
Contacts remaining.
Shields charging.
Contact. Elite units en route.
Bogey. Scanning. Warning. Port shields. 25%. Lock. Alert. Aft shields down. Scanning. Alert. Aft shields down. Alert. Port shields down. Alert. Starboard shields down. Shields charging. Alert. Port shields down. Alert. Aft shields down. Shields charging. Starboard shields. Down.
You are approaching simulation boundary.
Shields. Charging. Collision. Lock. Shields. Charging. Target destroyed. Anvil Aerospace. All systems online. Bogey. Scanning. Alert. Port shields. Down. Alert. Aft shields. Down. Scanning. Shields. Charging. Collision. Alert. Port shield. Down. Weapons system is offline. Alert. Starboard shields. Down. Lock. Shields. Charging. Alert. Aft shields. Down. Alert.